Hey, future RN. Calcium channel blockers are one of those cardiac medication classes that are just so heavily tested on the NCLEX. They're used for everything from hypertension and angina to rate control. So today, we're going to break down everything you need to know. I'm talking mechanism, patient teaching, the whole shebang, so you can walk in and answer these questions with total confidence. Welcome to ClearPath NCLEX. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics, what these drugs actually are. Then, we'll get into the two main types you absolutely have to know. After that, it's all about key side effects, the critical safety numbers, and then we'll test your knowledge with a little practice drill. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a final cheat sheet you can screenshot, right? Let's get into it. Okay, so what do these drugs really do? When you boil it all down, calcium channel blockers, or CCBs, have one primary mission: to just calm the heart down and relax those blood vessels. So how do they pull this off? It's actually pretty straightforward. Think of calcium as the little messenger that tells muscles to contract, to squeeze. Well, CCBs act like a security guard at the door of the muscle cells in your heart and blood vessels. They literally block calcium from getting in. And without that calcium, the muscles can't squeeze as hard. They just relax. And that simple action takes a huge amount of strain off the heart. Honestly, if you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this: CCBs equal calm the heart. This whole relaxation thing leads to lower blood pressure and, for certain CCBs, a lower heart rate. It's such a simple but powerful idea, and it will seriously help you get so many NCLEX questions right. Now, it's not quite enough to just know what CCBs do in general. The NCLEX really wants you to know the two major classes and what makes them different from each other. Nailing this distinction is absolutely critical, so let's break it down right now. Okay, on the left, we've got the dihydropyridines. The easiest way to remember these is that they all end in dipine. So you can think of your blood pressure declining with the dipines. These guys mostly work on the blood vessels. Now on the right, we have the non-dihydropyridines, like diltiazem and verapamil. For these, think diltiazem makes the heart feel zen, and verapamil helps it calm and chill. These act on both the heart muscle and the vessels, which is super important because it means they lower both blood pressure and heart rate. So what are we using them for in the real world? Well, those dipine drugs are absolute rock stars for hypertension because they're just so good at relaxing blood vessels. All CCBs are great for angina, which is just chest pain. But, and this is key, when you need to control a super fast heart rate, like an AFib, you're going to reach for the ZEM and MIL drugs, your diltiazem and verapamil, because they directly slow the heart down. All right, let's move on to the stuff the NCLEX loves to quiz you on to make sure you're a safe nurse. Let's talk about the key side effects that you absolutely positively must know. Okay, so since CCBs relax blood vessels, it makes sense that the number one side effect is hypotension, right? Low blood pressure. So you have to watch for dizziness. For the ZEM and MIL drugs that also calm the heart, we're worried about bradycardia. That's a dangerously slow heart rate. Another classic side effect, especially with the dipine drugs, is peripheral edema, that telltale swelling in the ankles and feet. Oh, and here's a very specific NCLEX tip. Verapamil is famous for causing constipation because it relaxes the smooth muscle in the gut too. And finally, headaches and flushing are pretty common because of all that vasodilation, but they're usually expected. Now, let's talk about the non-negotiable safety rules. If you see these numbers pop up in an NCLEX question, I want big, flashing red lights going off in your head. These are what we call hold parameters. Here's your first critical number to burn into your brain. If you're about to give a non-dihydropyridine, like diltiazem or verapamil, and you check your patient's heart rate and it's below 60, you must hold that medication and let the provider know. This is a huge safety rule. And right on the heels of that is your second critical number. For any calcium channel blocker, if the systolic blood pressure, that's the top number, drops below 90, you hold the drug. Now, always check the doctor's specific orders. Sometimes they might say 100, but as a general rule, if that BP's too low, it's a no-go. Patient teaching is massive for the NCLEX, so you're going to teach them to change positions slowly. We're trying to avoid falls from what's called orthostatic hypotension. They should also be keeping an eye on their BP and heart rate at home. And here it is, a classic NCLEX tidbit. They must avoid grapefruit juice. And here's why, because the NCLEX loves the why. Grapefruit juice actually messes with a key enzyme in the gut that breaks down the medication. This can cause the drug levels to spike to dangerously high toxic levels. It's a really big deal. Okay, you've got the core concepts down. So now, let's put that new knowledge to the test. with a quick little NCLEX-style drill. You ready for this? Okay, first question. The drug is amlodipine. Think about which class that belongs to and what its most common side effects are. Just take a second and think about it. Yes, that's exactly right. Your priority is to do a good assessment and report the finding. That peripheral edema is such a common side effect of those dyne drugs like amlodipine, and the provider absolutely needs to know about it so they can manage it. All right, question number 2. This time it's diltiazem. What do we know about that one? What's that critical number we should be looking for? Think it through. Exactly. Diltiazem is one of our ZEM drugs, which means it calms the heart rate. A heart rate of 48 is some serious bradycardia, and that is a major red flag. You would 100% hold that medication and call the provider. You guys are doing great. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's just squeeze it all down into one final high-yield cheat sheet. Go ahead and get your phone ready to screenshot this for your final review. Here it is, all in a nutshell. CCBs calm the heart by relaxing your vessels. The dipines mostly just lower blood pressure, so you've got to watch for that ankle edema. The ZEMs and MILs lower both BP and heart rate, so you're watching for bradycardia. In your magic hold numbers, a heart rate below 60 or a systolic BP below 90. And finally, teach them to move slow and say no to grapefruit juice. You know, the great thing about calcium channel blockers is that they're really predictable on the NCLEX. If you can just master these key side effects and those critical monitoring numbers we just talked about, I promise you will absolutely crush these questions. Thank you so much for watching. If this breakdown really helped things click for you, do me a favor and give this explainer a like. And be sure to subscribe to ClearPath NCLEX for more content that's designed to help you pass. And go ahead and hit that little notification bell, that way you won't miss our next video. And hey, before you click away, drop a comment down below which CCB side effect is now totally stuck in your head. I read every single one. You are doing amazing. Keep up the hard work with your studying, and just remember, you've totally got this. I'll see you in the next one.